Hey, Inspired Tribe. How's it going? Welcome to the Live Inspired live stream here on the Inspired channel on Monday, September 28th. I think this is the live stream number 89. And we remain healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. Remember, healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. Thank you for joining us today. It's a rainy day here in Tennessee, but we don't mind. It's nice and beautiful. It's cooled down a little. Fall hours at the pool yesterday. It was gorgeous. And our last tan-in for the fall before we headed to the beach very soon. Yep. So Inspired Tribe, let us know where you're tuning in from today. I know Emma's tuning in Philly. Let us know right there or down here, wherever your live chat is. We'd love to hear it. And today we're going to talk about the ominous topic that we put in the title, which is a secret code. It's a top secret code for what we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned for a little bit. And as always, we're waiting for people to jump on, give a little bit of time. Please hit the like button when you jump on, the thumbs up. And do a little breathing exercise together for about 2 minutes or so. And the purpose is, whether you're tuning in from Europe where it's later in the day, it's night, or whether you tune in somewhere from North America and it's the afternoon, chances are that sometime during the day, you move into your headspace a lot and forget about the heart, especially the spiritual heart. So let's open that space up a little bit like we do. And it's really, really easy. I just want you to close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And when you're just tuning in, just join us. Just close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Let go of the phone. Let go of the laptop or the computer or the keyboard. And breathe into this zone here. And this, you can, with your mind, just imagine how it opens with every breath. It opens like a window, like a huge window. And the more you breathe into it, the more it opens up and the more you can let your light shine. This is called the solar plexus, and solar as in sun rays, bright, shining, powerful. Really open up and breathe into it and notice how with every breath you increase the amount of energy in your body. How you're raising your vibration. And be all-inclusive. Include every cell of your body, every fiber of your being, every particle of your existence. Invite your creator in, your spirit guides, your higher self. Notice, remember that you're always guided, that you're never alone. Set the intention to give and receive. Set the intention for a very inspiring experience. Set the intention for wisdom, for knowledge, expansion. And open up your heart. A few more deep breaths. At your own pace, in your own time. Open your eyes. Welcome back. Just allow. Just be easy. Thank you for joining me and joining us. Hey, Emma. Hey, Angie. Hey, Siobhan. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining us today on this Monday afternoon or Monday night, wherever you're tuning in from. Hey, Agnieszka. How's it going? Good to see you. Remember, guys, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. And this is not just a phrase. Put this on your post-it, on your refrigerator, on your mirror, wherever you can see it. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. And it's so important to remember this thing. I want to today because it's all around us and because it's getting more and more polarized, especially over the next month or so. Given that there's the U.S. election for president is happening on November 3rd, and this is an event that is highly influential for the whole planet. So this is going on pretty much everywhere. But the topic that we really want to talk about is truth. And what is truth? You know, how do we access truth? How do we find out what the truth about something is? How do we find authenticity for a topic, authenticity about, you know, a person? What does that even mean? And there's this, you know, floating concept that really there is really no truth. There's just a subjective look at the world, and I believe that's a little bit of a cynical view. So when you feel truth, you feel, of course, your truth, but there is, you know, there is a truth that if you put a seed in dirt, in the soil, and if there's just a little bit of life in that soil, then that seed's can grow. So that is truth. You know, that's not a, you know, not even how you personally feel about it. That is truth. And truth is that the sky, you know, is or that the sun is giving us vital energy, vitamins and whatnot. So there's an abundance of truth out there. But how do we, especially in our human communication, and especially in all the human related topics, politics related topics, health related topics, how do we find truth? Enter yourself, you find a space of alignment. So if you are going on a truth quest and you're out of balance and you're trying to really just use your analytical mind, then you will always be disappointed, because there's always something that seems plausible, but then it's just maybe 80% of the truth. And you're looking at information and it looks logical and plausible, but if you don't use this space here, this heart space, as an indicator, an intuitive indicator, because that's really the most important indicator, because a lot of times truth is buried, you know, for a variety of purposes. And the only way to really uncover it is to feel your way through it, because the logical mind or the reasoning mind will say, well, no, that can't be true. You know, 99.9% of the people say it's the other way around. So this is really the first step to take, and this is truly the first step to take for everything. So it sounds like a repetition, what we're saying here, but it means that before you can actually feel your way through something and find out what is true and what is not true, what is what is the truth and what is a lie, you have to be open with your heart space, and you have to use this as your intuitive indicator. And then when you combine this with the powerful analytical mind, then you will learn to identify what is really true. And of course, there's topics out there that are highly discussed right now that seem extremely important to almost, the whole world. One big topic is, of course, COVID or coronavirus, what's going on with that, everything around it, whether that's masks or whether that's vaccines or whether that's, restrictions, social distancing, lockdowns. All of these things are highly controversial at this point in our history. And it is clear because for the first time in a long time, countries were, a relative, at least, people felt relatively free in their movements, relatively free in their decisions, have been and still are highly restricted in their movements, at least if they choose to obey. We come at this and look at all these things that are happening and we wonder what is true and how do we find out truth? Well, first of all, again, you have to open up this heart space to feel, and you will then start to get nudges in a certain direction. And the interesting part is that the nudge that you get might be very different than the nudge someone else gets, but you might land or find the same conclusion. But what else? How do we use our analytical mind to, find truth? With so many blogs and websites, with so many podcasts, with so many books, with so many movies and news stations and influential people that actually go about it. So once you open your heart space, there's this will already eliminate a lot of the a lot of the fakeness that is out there. So I posted a funny clip this morning also in the Inspired Facebook group if you want to join it if you haven't yet, which literally shows how it feels once, because we tuned out the news. We probably turned off the TV news some 10, 15 years ago probably by now. So when I actually see a news segment, it seems so fake and scripted to me. It's almost like theater rather than anything that resembles reporting, because I never watch it. I'm not used to the tone anymore, and so I can probably feel it for what it is more than ever before. And so we probably have to understand some bigger concepts that probably the vast majority of information that reaches you in one way or another is sent out with an intention. So the ideal is, well, here's information. The intention of the person who gives the information, or the network or the medium, is to inform you, to give you facts, to give you truth. But it's very rarely the case. Usually someone has an agenda, has something to sell, or is influenced by someone else who has an agenda or wants something, or wants you to believe a certain thing and look at things in a certain way. So this is something that's really, really important to know. I remember having this discussion with a former neighbor of ours who we used to talk over the fence and had longer discussions, and he used to say, well, this study says this, and I just read this study says this, and this statistic says that. And eventually I asked him, well, who paid for the study? Who paid for it? And that's a good question to ask, is who is interested in you believing that? Because if you go out today and look for studies, you'll find studies that prove that there's man-made climate change. You will find studies that prove that there isn't man-made climate change. You will find studies that prove that if you use your old kitchen cloth that your grandma gave you some, I don't know, 30 years ago, and if you put it above your mouth and nose, then it will protect you and everyone against the virus. And then there are studies that show that that is not the case. So the point is, there's study for everything, because as soon as I have an agenda, I can pay someone to make a study and give me the outcome I want. Everything can be spun that way. Everything can be spun that way. So how do we go past the spin in everything, and not just in these topics, but in our very personal life topics, is only by being truly connected to yourself and your source, whatever you want to call that. And this is where you leave the realm of doubt and speculation, and you move into the realm of a deeper knowing. And in that realm, truth also evolves, because the truth also, it always will evolve, because as you move along, and as the timeline moves along, and as the physical reality develops, and as the frequency gets higher, truth evolves as well. And what that means is that if 10 years ago I could see a certain truth that I still see today, but today I can see many more aspects of that truth. I can see more layers. I can see more in depth. I can experience more of that they discover new topics or old topics in a completely new way, and they see things in a completely different light. For example, Illy, who's here with us today, she's a teacher. So she's in the public school system and has been in it for a while. And she's discovering on a daily basis the depth of the influence that, this system has on people that go through it, whether they go through it as teachers, as parents, as students. What a tremendous influence that is, and what it means that if a student goes to school for 12 years or maybe even longer, higher education, that, thinking theme is going to create 80-90% of those students are going to come out with a certain belief system and a set of rules and a certain influence. So we discover now at a faster rate than ever, that nothing is as it seems. Now, this is such a big statement, but I truly can tell you that wherever I look wherever I open my heart and I look deep enough, I always find a well of information that shows me that, what is at the forefront of a topic and what is really behind it, usually two completely different things. And if we even allow ourselves to lose judgment over this, then we can actually discover this very easily. And that if we don't judge, we move along faster. When you don't judge, then you also understand that, yes, there might be a deceiver, but there's always two sides to every story. The one, who deceives, and the one who allows, themselves to be deceived. So that's also important. So we realize that we can only, someone only lie to us if we allow for the lie to enter us. Because on a deeper level, we have felt this from the get-go. On a deeper level, our spirit, our soul, our higher self has felt the truth, felt the lie from the get-go. So connecting with that spirit helps us to align with that again. And, again, if you lose the judgment, you move through that way faster. And what comes out when you come out on the other side of this, you will realize that you lose the attachments to certain stories that all people have. It's interesting how these stories are, some stories almost everyone has what they believe about something, what they believe about, money, what they believe about politics, what they believe about culture, what they believe about music. And you will notice that there's a different intention behind all of it. But once you enter that realm of truth, you become very influential because you're then an authentic vibrator of that energy, of the truth energy. And so what you put into that field all of a sudden becomes very, very influential. So when you vibrate at the frequency of truth, authenticity, then what you say to only a small group of people, or what you emanate to a small group of people, expands very, very wide and far and wide and broad, because truth can resonate. Almost everyone that's just a little can feel the truth in what you're being. And so they carry this truth or these truths forward. And then you become a highly influential being, even when not speaking to thousands of people. Then more and more people are looking to be closer to you because you feel authentic. Then more and more people are looking, for maybe a word of advice or guidance from you, and you become this shining light in your own circle of influence. And if anything, we would love for that to be, the theme for the whole Inspired Tribe, that you all, as beautiful, wonderful spiritual influencers, are making a positive impact, having that positive impact on your community where you live, on your family, your friends, just by being someone who is open for authenticity, just by being an authentic being, and just by standing in that truth and speaking truth, and also being silent in truth, being in truth, and not just for 2 years, 4 years, and all of a sudden you will also notice that it isn't just politicians, it isn't just a very few people in key positions that can initiate change. You'll realize that it's usually it's those people in those key positions that are trying to catch up with the change that's happening on a grassroots level. And it all starts with discovering your own level. And I know this has been the topic of varieties, the topic of many live streams lately, but just because there's nothing that can substitute that, taking that responsibility, being the own beer and the own doer in your life, and taking the responsibility for that, not giving others the responsibility to give you truth or facts or authenticity, not looking to others to be the provider of that. You are your own provider. And I've read this. It was in connection with the if you will, the QAnon movement. If you don't know about it, go look it up on the internet. Q as in the letter Q, and anon, ANON movement. Very interesting. But someone influential in the news media said, well, the people that follow or are in this, they believe, and she said it out, she was outraged. She said, can you believe it? They believe in doing their own research. And she said it like that's a bad thing. She said it like it's a bad thing that you think for yourself, like it's a bad thing that you take inspired action for yourself. It's a bad thing that you make up your mind for yourself, because the world wants you to trust in opinion leaders, in scientists, in whoever, religious leaders. The world wants you to just adapt a belief system. And we would encourage you to move into your own space of power, into your own authenticity, and to feel the authenticity of who you really are. And then everything you come in touch with, you will have that in knowing and feeling, okay, it doesn't feel authentic. And then there's the second aspect of this is also to define when to say yes and when to say no. Because when you are in that space of authenticity, you know if something is real or not. And then there's this, are you brave enough to just say, no, this doesn't feel real. I'm not going along. I'm not trusting this person. I don't want to talk to them, or I don't want to whatever. Maybe there's an offer on the table. So you will also learn to make these very quick decisions and not have a logical explanation at first, but just an intuitive feeling, no, it's not authentic. And last but not least, nothing that isn't authentic lasts, is fulfilling, can really give you anything, and is of benefit to anyone. Nothing that is not authentic works, ever, ever. So whatever is fake, whatever is, surrounded by half-truths and lies and deception, it never, ever leads anywhere. That's pretty much what led the world to where it was just a short time ago. And basically unpulling from that, because more and more people feel their authentic true self and live up to that, knowing, feeling. That's real power. And for that, you don't need money. For that, you don't need anyone else. You don't even need a course for that. There's people that can help you on your journey, and they will show up. They usually do. But what it really requires is a decision, and to understand that this I'm going to let it happen to me is not the same as allowing. I'm just going to sit back and someone else is going to do it, or I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to sit here and wait. It isn't the same as allowing. Even allowing is an active decision. Even allowing is an active being, or active doing, if you will. So this theme that we've heard over and over again, I'm just going to wait what happens. If you're just going to wait what happens, then what happens is exactly what's going to happen. If you actually become a more active beer and doer in your life, and if you choose the frequency, if you choose what state you move into, then the things that move into your life will match that frequency. And that's up to you. That's up to no one else. So I'm just going to let it happen is not enough. I'm going to allow the best, the greatest, the grandest vision. Yes, that's a lot more powerful. I'm going to move into my greatest, grandest vision. I'm going to move into authenticity. I am moving into authenticity. I am an authentic being. Yes, that's powerful. What matches that frequency? If you become authentic, you will get completely different inspiration. If you become authentic, your life will not be linear anymore. Your plans will not be linear anymore. When you become authentic, your whole outlook will be completely different, because what has worked or seemed like it worked before will not work at all anymore. Now all of a sudden you need to go with the flow, be in the river of life, and do whatever inspired action comes up, which is so often highly illogical. It makes no sense. If you would ask 100 people, 99 would tell you this doesn't make any sense, but you still have to go with it because it's your intuitive guidance, and only you have that. That's truth. That's to say, there is no real truth. Truth is so subjective, and they're really, I believe that's a highly cynical worldview. There is good in this life experience. There's bad in this life experience. I mean, whoever ever fell, from a tree 10 feet high and will say it was a very good experience to hurt myself. Yeah, it's just, it's bullshit. It was a bad experience. Okay, we can move on from it. But to be so cynical and to say there is no truth, I don't believe in that. There is truth and you can feel it. Let me see what you guys are commenting, because I can just see the comment section going.
Elise asking where she can follow Q.
Okay, so Illy said where she can follow Q. So there's if you and another thing, for those of you who are still using Google, I would encourage you to use duckduckgo.com to DuckDuckGo as in quack go as the duck, duckduckgo.com, a much better option, safe, secure, encrypted, and not tracked. So, but if you put that into your search machine, just Q drops, DROPS, then you'll find there's probably 4,800 Q drops since 2017, and Q, just in very short terms, is it's an intelligence operation, information operation, if you will, that started almost 4 years ago now, and where hints and information is revealed, but it's basically there for people to do their own research on topics and come to their own conclusions and see the truth behind so much deception that is out there. It's not a conclusive movement, and it doesn't give you absolute truths or absolute information. It is hints, clues, and then you go and do whatever you want to do with it. And before there was Q, there were many other intelligence movements that gave us this. And I remember Christine and I, probably some now 15 years ago, started diving into this very deeply. So, just open your heart, open your mind, look at it, and you can put the puzzle together yourself, which is always the way to go. And you might come to a very interesting conclusions. And the interesting part about that movement is that if you look at the people, or the people that are interested in it, and there's a large group of people, they are not you can't really pinpoint it. You can't really say, well, they're all the same. They come from all walks of life. They come from, people that live very modestly to people that are very, very rich. People that have different belief systems, people that are very Christian, people that have very open spiritual beliefs, very, very different. So it isn't really something to put you in a box. To the contrary, it's maybe something to open up your boxes. Okie dokie. So, do you guys have any questions? Because if you do, it just feels like a good day to answer some questions. I feel like if there's anything out there that's going on. Siobhan says Google bought DuckDuckGo. That's the first I heard of it. Are you sure? But if it is, thank you for the info. I'll definitely look it up. So, was there ever a Y movement? I don't know. Probably. If you feel like coming into an inspired gathering, inspired movement, inspired group, we're doing the membership calls on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central Standard. And that's been very, very powerful and inspiring and moving forward. And it's basically, we meet for a live Zoom call that's weekly every Wednesday night. And it is always either we'll have a meditation, we'll have exercises, practices, we'll answer questions, we'll invite EUCY in. It's a constant, beautiful, inspired movement forward and expansion. And it's been so joyous over the past 6-7 weeks since we've been doing it. So just send us an email if you feel inspired to join us.
We're answering questions.
Yes.
personal questions.
You can hear Kristin. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, I always mention Kristin, and back in the day before she came on camera, people thought I invented her. And then one day, she actually came and we sat and we talked to you guys, and someone posted, well, she does exist. And I said, yeah, I didn't make her up. It wasn't just my vortex version of her. Well, I wanted to share something with you that I shared. I don't think I shared it in the group, but I've been inspired to share it. Kind of a prophetic dream that I had years ago. And Kristin had a dream a few days back that kind of confirmed it or brought it back for me. So that must have been 5-6 years ago. I don't know, maybe longer. But and it's so significant because there's only a handful of dreams over the years that I really remember. I forget them. Usually I forget them before I even really wake up. But in this dream, it was night and I was outside, and there was almost out of nowhere, there was what seemed like an otherworldly, an alien attack. It looked like a spaceship, and it was shooting down on the people on the ground, and there was quite a gathering of people. And for some reason, while everyone was screaming and running around and in panic, I knew at that exact moment, I wasn't panicked at all. I knew it was a so-called really people from outer space or beings from outer space. And a false flag, for those of you who don't know what that means, is that's what they say an attack under false flag is when someone pretends to be someone else. So for example, this has been quite frequent in history. When a country wanted to go to war, but they didn't have the support of the public, then they would stage an attack, say, well, hey, this country just attacked us, when really they did it themselves to have a reason to go to war. That's what is called a false flag. And so this was I remember such a prophetic dream, and I thought, okay, this is going to stick with me until it's going to be important. And then a few nights back, Kristin had a dream with many, many lights in the sky that seemed very weird and very off topic. We had, and they moved in. And so nothing that we thought about, talked about, watched movies or series about whatsoever, completely off topic. And it initially, like, boom, it reminded me of my dream. And so I just wanted to let you know, in all seriousness, I'm not joking here, if there's anything like that, because it is 2020 and nothing would surprise us anymore. So if there's an alien attack, then just know it's a false flag, which means it's not really aliens attacking, and that this is then done by whatever group of humans for whatever reason. I can only imagine the reason, but if this happens, it's a false flag. Don't panic. Don't get scared. It's not what it seems to be. For official first contact, so when we will actually be contacted officially, because this has been going on for centuries or even longer, but when this will be broadcasted to the broad public for the first time, it will be friendly. It will be friendly and peaceful. There will be no violence and no aggression. Fake, it's false, and I'm 100% certain of that. You could say, well, that's just your dream, but no, I'm 100% certain of that. First official contact is going to be friendly, very friendly. So, you beautiful, wonderful, inspired tribesters. Do you think that's a bad word, tribesters?
Why?
No? Like mobsters? You beautiful, inspired tribesters. Thank you for joining us today. If you guys don't have any questions, then I can only encourage you to move into that heart space, multiple times a day. It's easy. In our groups, whenever we want someone to do something multiple times a day, we say, well, every time you pick up your phone, before you actually check your phone log, check in with yourself. And before you look at it, just remember to open your heart space, open what's going on inside of your heart, because whatever comes to you, then you will be able to feel intuitively if it's authentic, if it's fake, if it's real, and just notice over the next days, how that changes your perception of things, how that changes the quality of your life experience. Really do that. I mean, really do it. And let us know in the next live streams if you feel a change, because trust us, when you are not conscious about it, aware, then you are either here a lot and you seem very smart, or in your gut, and gut is more anxiety, fear. It is more the kind of the fight or flight emotion. But when you're in heart, it's such a harmonious space that you're in. So open that up, focus on that, and see what it does to you guys right here on the Inspire channel. Bring your friends, bring your family, tune in. And again, if you're inspired to join the high membership calls Wednesday nights, send us an email. Also, if you ever want to do a one-on-one EUCY session, people have been loving these. These are such beautiful experiences. Just bathing in that energy, send us an email. Or if you feel inspired to join a course, send us an email, ask questions. We're here for you guys, as always. Thank you for being with us. We love you. And we're wishing you a wonderful, exhilarating, joyful, open-hearted, inspired rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Love you guys.